Hey guys, it's that time in the show, and well, I guess this is the first time in the show, but this time we're going to be taking calls, talking to a few guests, fans out there right now, and joining me right now, we have our first guy up here. You know him on Peachtree Hoops. You love him, love the pictures, love the witty, sarcastic comments. Friend of mine on the site, Neek Fan, but I figure I shouldn't be calling you Neek Fan. Go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Yeah, I guess actual name's Gareth. I guess I guess talking about the Hawks fandom was probably sort of started about '91 when I started becoming a fan of the Hawks. Back in the days of back you had Neek and Willis and Doc and Spud Webb were all still in the team back then, and I guess the way I sort of came about being a Hawks fan, I know my cousins were getting getting in the NBA back in the day, and I remember there were three teams that no one was allowed to follow. It was the Bulls, the Lakers, and the Celtics.
Ooh.
Pretty much got anointed with the Hawks. So you could almost say that from threat of physical violence, I became a Hawks fan.
Good. That's how it needs to be for everyone else out there. In case you guys couldn't realize this, we are recording at two completely different times right now. I'm recording early in the morning. Gareth, you are on the other side of the world for me. If you couldn't tell by the accent, Gareth, you're from Australia, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Perth, Australia. It's on the west coast of Australia.
Oh, okay.
I know most people probably just know Sydney and Melbourne. Yeah, we're just a little town tucked over the other side of the country. So.
That is what's up, man. By the way, for everybody, so everybody understands now why Gareth gives me a ton of crap whenever I completely butcher and mispronounce certain players' names. Matthew Dellavedova, that was one of them. I remember you got on me for, and I was like, it's the American public education system, my friend. That's why I can't.
It took me a few times going on Basketball Reference, looking at the phonetic spelling to get it right as well. So, I had to have a bit
of okay. Well, I will say for some American names, I can't pronounce it all either. So it. I love that you go above and beyond your way just to get the correct pronunciation of everything. I've been saying Dennis. How do you say Dennis's last name? Because I've been saying it wrong for like 2 years. I've been saying Schroeder. I think he says Schroeder.
I think most people say Schroeder. Yeah.
Okay, I've been saying Schroeder for 2 years, and apparently I've had it wrong. So.
I know. When it comes to typing it out, I always struggle to get the umlauts in there, and that's. I just have to go with the straight English spelling.
Yeah. I wish there was an omelet button I had on my computer. I know it's Alt 148 for that letter, but that gets incredibly annoying. I wish there was just a button I could press.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just some shortcut or something would probably help the cause.
Yeah, man. But we got you on here, and thank you for coming on and talking with me. So we were talking earlier about well, the only really big news we had was Jeff Teague Gate. And Teague Gate, or however you want to say it, Jeff came out, the master of putting up Instagram pictures and letting you know how he really feels before he's like, forget about it. Jeff let us know that he was injured and kind of said it in a funny way. Let me read it right now for you guys. He says, "First time I've ever been able to hoop this long. Am getting frustrated." He sent that out on the 9th, I think like right before his birthday. And yes, I'm stalkerish and I know these things. But then comment says, they won't tell you.
Teague fan, you'd be sending him personal messages and send something on.
Yeah, well, me and Jeff, we have this understanding, man. He hasn't hit me back, man, on my cell phone, but
I was going to say, you got to recall that story where you said you met him in the bar or something. Well, that was pretty funny.
Oh boy. I self-credit myself for starting MV Teague years ago. I was at the Bulls playoff game. I wore a T-shirt once before a shoot-around at a game. This is back when they were starting Kirk Heinrich, if you guys remember. I had a shirt that said "Free Jeff Teague." Jeff Teague looked at it, pointed, smiled, gave me a thumbs up, then went back to shooting. I mentioned online of how Jeff helped me win some money because he was the only person to beat North Carolina that year. He favorited and liked the tweet. It's a very odd stalkerish fandom that I have now that I mention it. I do take credit for MVT, so I want royalties for that. There are pictures out there of that game against the Bulls where I have to sign up. But anyway, so Jeff says, they won't tell y'all, but I played with a tear in my patella the whole year and could barely jump or stop. But it's cool. Got that taken care of. Hashtag, I'll be back dunking. Hashtag, they won't say that part. Yes. Let them know how you really feel, man. Whew, boy. When you saw this, Gareth, what were your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to read into exactly what he was sort of, his thought process behind it, but I guess my initial thoughts are just that he, I guess he's been copying it all year, like people calling him out for passive play and, just and like regressing from the 2015 season and stuff like where his All-Star season, and I don't know if it's just sort of that coupled with the trade rumours that were going about, and sort of I guess also with Schroeder's pushing to publicly stating he wants to get into a starting role, and that. I don't know if it just sort of all just seemed to couple together, and he just wanted to point out that any sort of perceived regression in his play it wasn't sort of by his own choice.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to mention one of the first things you said was him basically being called out for regression and being passive and stuff like that. I know it's easy to say to ignore all of that, but if you were in the position like me, I'm incredibly petty and I have a hard time letting go of things. I will admit that at times. So I could totally, see him doing that. Like if that were me in that situation, I don't know. I'd let somebody know, hey, you want to call me out for, being slow? Well, I'm going to let you know I was playing with a tear in my knee and I couldn't jump. I couldn't run. It was difficult. So shut up. I don't know. It's easy to say, you should ignore it. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, dude, chill.
Well, I guess the perception from fans of Jeff as a player is that, that he's, I guess that he doesn't quite have that sort of self-confidence to, shake off that sort of that type of thing. If he has a bad game, he seems to show it, the heart on the sleeve type sort of, and the emotions show, like, when he's disappointed in himself. And I'd say that, personally, I don't know outwardly, but that he could you get the impression that he would take to heart sort of, people sort of calling him out for that sort of thing. So he's just wanting to set the record straight or something, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you. Shocking surprise. I'm halfway taking Jeff's side on this. Not so shocking, but yeah, no, you're right. Oh man. But Gareth, do you think like this does anything for his trade value of what trade value he has?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I mean, you've almost got the argument from both sides when you look at it from both sides. A lot of people, you could almost argue, say, all right, yeah, so that regression, like so, any perceived regression in his game last season was, you could almost credit it to having to play through injury and stuff like. Whereas, I don't know. Yeah, I guess from the other side, people say, oh, like, he's getting older. He's had a history of ankle injuries previous to this knee injury and that as well. And they're saying, oh, does he have a, is his body holding up to the 82 game rigor of the NBA sort of season in season out? As he's getting older, are they starting to see, especially being a player who sort of relies quite heavily on his athleticism? Is it sort of we starting to see a bit of a downward trend? I mean, personally, I definitely tend to the former argument that I think it was just playing through the injury was sort of contributed to him struggling a fair bit. But I guess other guys have pointed out on Peachtree Hoops as well that he's shown improvement in other areas of his game, like he's not having that athleticism. He was able to sort of I guess shooting 400 from the or 40% from the perimeter last season. It's a big step up for him, and like he's improved his mid-range game. Sort of shot a bit better off the dribble and stuff like that as well. Quite potentially, like when he gets those injuries right, he'll like having this season where he sort of had to struggle through that sort of thing may make him a more complete player going forward. So
Yeah. It makes me kind of wonder, like, I wonder if he suffered the injury in that January timeframe where he looked really bad. He looked bad, and I wonder if that's kind of when it happened. But you brought up a lot of good points. Obviously, one thing is, hey, I wonder if this injury contributes to, things to come. Just because it's another injury. You mentioned his ankle problems that he's had, but I don't know. At the same time, Jeff is still incredibly durable as a point guard. Like you look at any other point guard, really in the NBA, Jeff is, especially like at his age, Jeff is incredibly healthy for that. And that's something you could point at for his trade value. And also how you mentioned how he shot, he was shooting 40% from three and who's dealing with, all this stuff with the knee injury. It's kind of telling like, hey, this is, Jeff playing at half speed, half strength or whatever. And he is able to, we'll see what happens when he can actually go at full speed next year. So,
yeah, well, I mean, it bodes well for him that he's sort of with his ability to turn the corner and that when he's healthy he can blow by defenders, but then at the same time he can he'll sort of utilize that mid-range game, utilize the floaters a bit more in the the hesitation dribble, the old sort of stutter step type moves and that as well to move his defenders. So I really hope that he does sort of get healthy over the summer and sort of can just sort of get those skills that he's that he almost has had to rely on. I guess by necessity, through the injury, then he's able to sort of put it all together to put together a more complete game, I guess.
Yeah. You're right. Man. And it's really just funny because all this came up right after the whole trade rumor, Dennis for Noel. Boy, we will see what happens with this. Though, Gareth, you've been following the Hawks recently long enough to know that when you see a trade rumor with the Hawks name on it, it probably won't happen. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Man, Gareth, anything else you want to talk about real quick? Tell to the people out there, our listeners.
I don't know. I guess thinking with the draft's only a couple. I guess we're less than a couple of weeks away now. I mean, it's been. I guess having picked 21. What have we got? 44 and 54. The way those mocks are going across the board, it's pretty hard to sort of predict who's what we can potentially do there. And I guess after Coach Bud's move last year as well, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to rule any move out there. So. I'll turn the tables on you. Actually, sort of with 21st pick, if the Hawks were to hold it, who would you see?
Okay, here's the thing. I have no idea because I'm terrible at drafting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to the. I think I've been swayed by Denzel Valentine, just because he might be. I think, like, for where we're picking, he might be the most efficient type of thing, and a lot of the stuff that reads from him, I like, and I think there are certain things he can improve on that can definitely be coached to him. But that's just one player I can see at that point. But we have no idea what's going to happen. So I don't know. After the last few years, I have no idea what they're going to do. Although I do want to ask you thoughts on Al Horford, since I got you on here.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely been a big discussion point, I guess, since the end of the season, and I guess him coming into his free agency. Personally, honestly, I think the combination of Horford and Millsap, like, it's hard to. I mean, it's like that sort of, that 4-5 combo. It's hard to sort of put up another power forward center combo where the two players complement each other so well. Like, I mean, I understand Al was probably personally, I thought Al was shooting a little bit too much from the perimeter last year, but I mean, the fact that he can stretch the defense like he does just gives that room to Millsap inside to be able to operate from the post, sort of work his, either to get inside to inside in the post or sort of, work that turnaround jump shot that he was sort of going to quite heavily last year. And I know pretty much just the other options that people have mentioned at centre. I just don't think they're a great complement for with Millsap. And I think we may have to the Hawks may have to pay more than what they want to for Al Horford. Honestly, it's hard. Yeah, like if you could get him for around about sort of 20 to 22 per season over a 5-year stint, I'd be happy with that. But when people say max contracted 25 per, it's kind of hard. But it's just it's hard to sort of see who would replace him. Like, I can't see the Hawks substituting someone else into the centre position without without regressing next year offensively. And at least or mostly on the offensive end, but then also like what centre out there can defend the perimeter the way that Horford can. I mean, unless we do something, like somehow the Hawks improve the at the 3 position or even the perimeter in general. Losing Horford's just gonna hurt the Hawks at both ends.
Yeah, boy, it's gonna be tough. I believe I was talking to James Hollis last week. James, Snotty Drippin', everybody go back and listen to that pod. I got to advertise everything I can. But James was speaking with me saying, What if Horford started shooting these threes? You saw all his shots about shooting the threes and him mentioning it about, what he's trying to showcase for free agency instead of, I don't know, everything else. Who knows? He was maybe trying to showcase that to bring up his value. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I mean, there's always been that discussion that, like, people say that, like, does Al Horford actually see himself as a center? Does he see himself more as a power forward? And is he trying to sort of showcase himself more off as a stretch four or something like to, rather than playing the pivot or something like to sort of show his benefit to other teams? So it's hard to read into it. I guess his comments at the end of the season, his exit interviews talking about how much he loves Atlanta, but I guess that could just be sort of the business talk and that sort of thing as well. So it's really hard to read into.
Hearing comments like that, yeah, you could be right on that. It's almost kind of like when the local broadcasts asks players and coaches, well, what did you think of the crowd tonight? Obviously you have to say the crowd was great. You know what I'm saying? Like for basically any team. Do you know what I'm saying, Gareth?
It's coming straight out of the public relations playbook, man. It's just like there's no sort of, I don't know if there's a great deal of honesty about it. It's just
yeah.
Their agents are telling them what to say, and they're saying it. So
very true. Anyway, man, this is cool talking to you. We'll somehow have to I don't know, get the times to match up again. Where can people reach you or talk to you if you answer that sort of thing, man?
Well, I guess I'm not really on Twitter and stuff like that, so a little bit hard pressed. But it's just on the Peach Reeves website is probably the best place to sort of, if you want to talk Hawks ball and stuff like that, it's the best place to do it. It's unfortunately, unless you want to sort of personal message on Facebook or something like that.
Oh, right. Oh,
keeping it old school and adult there. So,
well, from because how do I put this? I can't speak bad of I've been speaking bad of Australians and mainly just one Australian, and that's Matthew Dellavedova. But you know what? All Australians are not Matthew Dellavedova, so it's cool. Are you going to be rooting for Ben Simmons? I have to ask.
So from what I've read about Simmons, I've heard about the talk about his I guess his standing within the Australian team, and I don't mean this as a derogatory comment to Americans, but the fact that they label him the Yank just due to his AAU sort of heritage and being brought up a bit privileged. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'd have to see the proof in the pudding. If he can go out there and play tough and that, then I'll definitely sort of stand behind him. But just from what I've read of his play previously, he's got a bit to prove on that side of things. So especially after that year at LSU, they're talking that he wasn't quite sort of shying away at times, and for someone who's trying, going to be a potential number one pick in the draft, wasn't sort of showing that sort of the leadership qualities that you hope from a superstar, a potential superstar.
I haven't really considered that, but that's a good point. The Yank. Funny thing is there are when I moved from the northern part of, I guess, New England down to Georgia when I first moved there, I got called a Yank a lot from the Southerners, the Georgians, which is I don't know how to take that term. Like I'm like it's not derogatory at all, but it's just kind of like what? Okay, I don't know. Anyway,
the
go ahead.
thing is with Australia, they've got slang for every for any sort of nationality or what. Even all vocabulary is like everything's shortened off or nicknamed in some sort of way. So yeah, I wouldn't. If it's coming from Australian, I wouldn't take it to heart too much. Though.
That's what's up, man. Hey, Gareth, this has been fun. Great talk, man. Talking to you on the whole thing. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to us, man.
No, seriously, thanks for having us, man. It's I've seen your guest list that you've had previously. Guys like Bob Rathman and Steve Coonan and Taz Mellis, J.E. Skeets. Man, I'm lucky to even be considering that sort of.
You're in that stratosphere, man. Anyway,
I was thinking to myself, I'm probably the least, the least sort of popular guest that you'll have on this podcast. So.
No, man, we have Garrick on here. Garrick is the least popular one I have on here, but
it's even Garrett coming out with his proper name. It's always going to be Hooters to me. So.
Oh, a Hooters baby, yeah. Me, I'm throwed Hooters baby. I'll have to get a Duffman on here at some point, or somebody.
I'm waiting for Ed, man. I reckon he'll be up.
Oh,
just as long as he hasn't got too many beers under his belt.
We'll have to do like a simultaneous pod to get you and Ed on at the same time. That'll be interesting. Anyway, Gareth, it's been fun. Thank you for joining me, man.
No problems, man. Thanks for having us, Josh.
No problem.